Merry, 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 Merry Christmas. It's a Christmas episode. Merry Christmas. It's the day of the year. It's Jesus time. Yeah. A Merry Christmas once again, 'cause it's Christmas time. It's that time of the year to celebrate little baby Jesus. It's that time. He was a little baby that changed the world. Name was Jesus, and it's Christmas time again. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the show. Christmas Eve, not Christmas Eve, it's Christmas Eve. Baby Jesus is gonna come into your heart and do things to it that'll make your heart tickle your heart. Baby Jesus, quit tickling my heart, but keep tickling my heart, yeah. It's that time of year. Happy Merry Christmas, everybody. Welcome back. Gladyamadeit. That's not a social production. That's right, we're doing it. It is Wednesday on Christmas Eve. It's morning right here in Toronto, but nonetheless, it's Christmas Eve. Isn't it Christmas Eve every day? It's today. It's to the 24th of December, 2025. That's right, 2025. We're about to, it's New Year's is right around the corner, but 2025 is about to be done and over with, and it's been 225 years celebrating. So Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to all my Christian brethren and sistren out there. Happy Hanukkah to all my Semites. Happy Kwanzaa and anything else you might be low-key celebrating, but just know that it is Christmas. It's Christmas. We say Merry Christmas. So happy Merry Christmas is what it is. And Christmas was, once again, from what I've learned over the years and what I'm learning, it's a beautiful day. Well, before we get, hold on a sec. Too excited about Christmas. Not gonna lie, but again, if you're tuning in, whether it's from Toronto, Canada, anywhere in Canada, Vancouver, over there in Halifax, Nova Scotia, over there in the Yukon territories, keep massaging the tits. I'm not there right now. I'm not there, because otherwise, yes, you gotta massage the tits. I'm not there. Most of it, I put in the time. When I'm not doing podcasts and pursuing a comedy career at a very slow and steady pace, I'm out there squeezing the tits up north so that they don't clog. So do that while I'm podcasting. If you're in the United States of America, Merry Christmas to you too. All beautiful 50 states. Further down south, Mexico's, all of your, I don't know how many states or provinces you got, but nonetheless, Merry Christmas. Or as we say in Spanish, Merry Christmas, Senor and Senoritas and Muchachos. And further down south, the South Americas, over there, Europe, all my European brethren and sistren, once again, Merry Christmas. Over there in Asia, if you're celebrating Christmas, again, Merry Christmas. Over there in Antarctica, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, Australia, all around the world, and in a submarine, in a submersible, in a space rocket, air gliding, in a NASCAR, driving fast, on a hamster wheel, injecting yourself with whatever, with peptides, with TRT, or maybe you're experimenting with new drugs, celebrating Merry Christmas. Let's get right into it. Let's have a little bit of fun. It's gonna be a loose, beautiful day, just like any other day. Thank you again for joining me. If you're celebrating alone, that is completely fine. Know that you're never alone. That's why your boys right here got your back. I'm not alone either, because I know I've got, first of all, no one's technically alone in my personal opinion. First of all, you got your left brain, right brain, so that's like two brains. So why else would they say left brain, or if they don't call it the one brain, it's two brains. And then you got your male and female sides to you, which differs for everyone. So there's got left brain, right brain, that's two. The female, male energies within you, that's also two. So that's like four. There's four people right there. And you can keep going. You can keep going with that. There's the guy that gets you up in the morning and gets after. There's the guy inside you that fucking, knows how to whip up a nice little banana muffin, homemade banana muffins. There's, and there's if you're celebrating alone, that's cool. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You're not alone though. And then you got people out there. And if you are enjoying it with families, familias or friends, that's beautiful too. Sit on their lap. Give them purple nurple for me. Suck on your wife's tits for your own sake, not for my sake. I don't care about your wife. I hope she's doing well, but I respect her, not in that sense, but like suck on her titties nonetheless to make her happy. It's Christmas. And ladies, it wouldn't hurt you to give the old husband-a-roo, the old eggnog, a milkshake, if you know what I mean. If you know, I'm talking sloppy toppy morning. Get up, it's Christmas. We know he's up, either by himself or maybe he's taking Blue Chew or other supplement. But he's up, so get on that eggnog. Get it all over your face. It's beautiful. That's right. So today is one of those days that we come together as a planet, as a universe. It's part of a multiverse, perhaps, and we celebrate the coming of a baby. One of the most beautiful babies there ever is, because he's not, because he's alive still. He's alive. He's an old baby. He's got good skin. He's 2025 years old. Great skin, And I'm learning as I go along. Again, if you've been with me from the get-go, we just like many of you out there, I'm going through my little journey of life. They do say it's the journey, and that is true. So I've reading a little bit about Jesus, Yahweh. In other books I've read, there were multiple Jesuses, but now I'm reading the Bible. I've still yet to come to. We're on 365 right now. 365, page 365. Exodus is almost done and over with, I think. A lot of fucking Pharaoh was adamant not letting Moses and the crew leave. Just every time. 10 magic tricks Moses and Aaron had to conduct. Last time we talked about this topic, they were up to 5, but they did 10 magic tricks. This guy, Jesus. You think the judges on American Idol or, America's Got Talent or Britain's Got Talent or, you think those judges are tough? Man, wouldn't want to be performing in front of Pharaoh, am I right? Jesus. Now the last magic trick. Their firstborns are like their sons, the baby. They killed a bunch of babies. God killed a bunch of babies, and that was to. But that's not the point. The point is that I'm learning. Is what I'm trying to say. I'm learning as I go along. Yeah, got my own personal relationship with Jesus, like many of you may or may not have. Depends on what part of your journey are you on. Learning. Do I believe in a historical Jesus? Yes, I do. Do I believe he was probably like a magnificent MFer? Yes, he was, learning. I've read in other books, as I said, there were multiple babies named Jesus at the same time with the same kind of characteristics, but nonetheless, there's only one learning in this book. So that's nice. Yeah, and Jesus was that, that first airdrop, that first, surprise. You got a little cake in the oven, They resorted to, who knows? We're not gonna debate too much in terms of like how did it all be? Because it happened. It just did. If his stepfather Joseph could accept it, you and I could accept it too, and it did happen. So it happened. Joseph accepted the baby. Mary was the mother, main character. So you're like, it's Christmas time. Who's my favorite character during Christmas? You got Mary, the mother, it's up there. You got baby Jesus, you got Joseph, the stepfather. You got Santa's a big one, the main character, not in the Bible, but nonetheless, it's that time of year, it's Christmas time. So who's your favorite? Man, Santa's a, it is Jesus' day, but I don't see, Santa does hand out the gifts, or it was Saint Nick. I'm learning. Saint Nick, Greek saint who who's 4th century. Santa comes from this guy, I believe, Saint Nicholas from Greece, which at that time was Turkey, which is just all, oh man. The lineage is, it's talk about a journey. So this guy in the 4th century used to go out giving gifts to poor babies. And he made sure that the poor baby girls, that they got dowry so they don't go prostitute themselves. And 2025 years has passed by and it's all the same, more or less. I mean, I don't see anybody like giving out money to poor young females so they don't get on OnlyFans, but also they do give them money on OnlyFans. So low key, there's a lot of, you could say there's a lot of, it's been refined. The concept is there. There's no, there's only one Saint Nick, but nonetheless, and that's where I think it comes from. Could it be based on a prior character? You never know. You'll read a little bit more. You learn that there's a lot of parallels in different parts of the world and different civilizations. You're like, oh, if you look at the Greeks, they had it. Or you look at the Egyptians, they had a Saint Nick named, Osiris, Sinus, or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. But nonetheless, the point is that, so he's a main character. He's also a good one. And yeah, that guy was the first, drop shipper. You could say that Santa was the first drop shipper. That's what it was. Wasn't easy to get in the game because, you want to be giving joy and gifts. All of a sudden, motherfuckers be pulling up on you. You're like, oh, I want to be pulling up and dropping off gifts. So in the early stages, Santa had to, it was territorial. It's kind of like, think of it as like gang activity going on, and Santa had to put it down, and he wanted to go global. People were saying, no, you can't go global. This is, find your niche, pick a lane. Santa was like, no, I'm global. I'm gonna do like Jesus, not with the gift giving, but like be global, and just because there's like 200 countries and there's so many markets to tap into. So Santa saw that, replicated it, and he came in with the sweets, with the gifts, with the goodies. So Santa's up there, and Jesus, we're all a fan of Jesus. The little baby, miracle worker, magician. Went to some secret schools. That was cool. Went to, in Egypt, he did a little bit of studying. He learned a little bit of, secret knowledge, esoteric knowledge, if you will. And then, he lived with his mom, which is, again, things, that are frowned upon in today's society. If you are 33 and above and living with your mom, you are technically, I don't believe in it, but people, society doesn't look that fondly upon you. But I personally don't care. You're cool, whether you're male or female. What else? I mean, yeah, Jesus was the first to whip out the sandals. Sandals was, I don't know if he invented it or not, but he definitely popularized it. So there you go. These are the main characters. Who's your favorite? Santa is up there for me. But it is Jesus' day. So again, I'm gonna go with Jesus. But although not to say the other characters are, because again, Mary didn't have an easy either. As like, being pregnant way back when, and trying to, low-key be like, no, I did not have the sexuals. This is a miracle. People be probably, speculating, probably not, most people are probably nice. Maybe some people, I don't know, to be honest, I don't know. But some people, I'm guessing, doubted her, and that's not cool to have, you come up with a baby in your belly, you're lactating, and you're like, I don't know how this baby got here, and all of a sudden the older witches in the area, the ones who, the ones that are like 40 plus still not married, just fucking bitter. And they're like, oh yeah, we don't know how you got your baby, Mary. You call her stuff probably, I don't know. Maybe they were super nice. Who knows? But nonetheless, it's that time of year. So Merry Christmas. I hope you're having a wonderful time, whether it's by yourself, and again, you're not alone. If you're with your friends and family members, that's sweet as well. And let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful day is what it is. Let baby Jesus in your heart, 'cause he'll shine a light in your heart if it's dark, and he'll shine a light in your heart so you can find your way in your heart. 'Cause it's hard to find your way if you don't have light in your heart. Get some lighting in your heart. Buy a chandelier, put it in your heart. Get a table lamp, put it in your heart. You're like, what about Jesus? Won't he put the light in my heart? He'll put the light in your heart. But also it doesn't hurt to buy a lamp so you got good lighting. Don't wanna hurt your eyes when you're reading stuff in your heart. And maybe you'll invite people over in your heart and you wanna have good lighting. What else is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for joining me once again. Baby Jesus, I'm here, was a baby, I smacked on baby, I was low-key, also God. He was a baby 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 God. Baby God. Baby G. Shout out. What's going on in and around the world, beautiful people? Well, yes, it is. It's that time of year. It's time to get gifted. It's time to be gifted and be giving gifts and receiving gifts. But it's not. They say it's more joyous to give gifts than to receive gifts. And they say that about many things. They say that about anal, and they said that about vaginal penetration as well. Again, remember that always best to give than it is to receive. It's pretty fun to take as well, like not tip, but like tap it. It's pretty fun to tap. It's pretty fun to like receive it, but then give it back. You can't really receive the anal and like repeat. You can technically return it. Like there's no I don't know where the lineup is in terms of like returning anal, but you can. I believe you can. Or like vaginal, you definitely can get vaginal gifted, but you can't give vaginal unless you're lesbians. Then you can give the vag back. But nonetheless, if you are hetero, they say it's better to give puss than to receive. If you get a puss, give a cock. That's what they say. But yeah, it's always good to give gifts and receive gifts with an open arm, or like if you have arms, open them. If you don't have arms because you were a cowboy who was wrangling sharks and you got bitten by a shark while you're wrangling them, you get your bionic arms and you open those arms. And if you're on a wait list to get your bionic, or just maybe hold still with your chest out and receive the gifts. What gifts have been given as of late? Some gifts, and that's the thing, sometimes gifts come in different forms. We've all been waiting. This one's not particularly a gift, but a lot of people have been waiting for some clarification on the subject matter. Let's just talk about it, just because it is it's out there. It's out there. It seems to be no more, clarity coming through. I'm talking about the Epstein files. Many of you guys and gals might have heard. Of course, new documents have been released. A lot of them have been redacted. It's been redacted, heavily redacted. Many of files were released, heavily redacted, which means things were blacked out. Then it turns out you can easily apparently use Adobe and unredact them. And it's hundreds of thousands of files. So I don't know who's doing that. I'm personally not doing it. Hundreds of thousands we're talking about. So I'm not, I'll let somebody else do that part, because that is just way too much. That's way too much, And many new pictures have come about. It's surfaced image, and again, the pictures don't, tell it. They do say that though. They say the picture says 1,000 words, 1,000 different, and they don't specifically say anything in particular. They do. There's a lot of people having pictures taken with Epstein, which is, and again, who at this point the waters have been turned into muddy waters. The water has been filled with jism. A lot of loogies, and a lot of people came by and hawk to it in the water, so it's been muddied up. Who was he? Some sort of intelligence off. And again, this is all speculation and just people just hypothesizing. Again, a fellow with a lot of reach, knew a lot of guys, knew a lot of gals. He was a pedophile. We know he was a pedophile. We know that. There's images of Epstein have been released, which show him with underages, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's images of him with, again, a lot of A lot of people, and that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. Again, trying to look at this objectively, even as I, who did what to whom? Because again, locked up, went to jail for procuring underage girls to clients. Who are the clients? A lot of people spent time with him. A lot of people went to his island. A lot of people flew on his airplane. But like, who partook? Who partook? Who had partaken in the underage sexuals is the question. But the pictures, Bill Clinton was in a lot of pictures. That still doesn't tell us much. But again, he has been a frequent flyer to the island and he's been on that plane many a time. So that's, celebrities. You had Kevin Spacey, doesn't mean much. Chris Tucker doesn't mean much. I mean, you could have, MJ, Michael, I mean, that one's a little bit, but in my heart, I think he's innocent. I'm talking about MJ just because I don't know. If you weren't there for me again, and the music was too much of a banger for me to be like, so I'm just gonna, but that's my personal bias. And I'm trying to, reduce that as much as possible. Each and every one of us has got some, of course. Try to be aware. And again, I hope nobody actually, it does suck. If you just took a picture with this guy and you just happen to be at a party, that sucks. But that doesn't, it sucks way more if you got like diddled by a bunch of pedophiles. That sucks more. So it's okay. It's not that big of a deal either. So it is a lot of people that have it's been a lot, Mick Jagger was photographed, a whole bunch of people, Bill Gates, that doesn't, and that's a little, who knows, but let's just get a little bit of clarity. How hard is it to, this has become it's one of the longest investigations we've had. It's been going on for years. There's no clarity. It's just more confusion. There's a fake video of him apparently attempting suicide or trying to hang himself that surfaced on a government website and then got taken down and then put back up. Again, evidence that has been redacted but is not redacted because you can, highlight it or unhighlight it, the blackout parts I'm talking about. Again, somebody is going to probably spend a lot, and that's the beauty of today. A lot of people are going to be doing some online sleuthing, going out there trying to find some info that may be useful. We do have the victims though. Why don't we talk to the victims and see ask them. It's very, ask the victims who they've been victimized by, bring those guys in, question them, put it to court. It's just, and then at one point you go back, DJT, 4547 DJT in the house. At one point, a few months ago, he was like, oh, there's images or maybe information about a few fellas. I think he was maybe even referencing Bill Clinton. He was saying it doesn't look good. And then now he comes up and he's just like, I don't even know why. I don't know why people are still talking about this. He's, so it's a little bit, everybody. Pam Bundy came in and said there's a bunch of information sitting on the desk. Next thing you know, she's in there saying there's no information. She's, and Kash Patel, I guess, saying he's going to go release information and then comes in and says this, if we knew something, we'd say something. And it just, a lot of people are looking sus. And again, I don't know what's going on. Not many people do. It doesn't help the situation. It just makes you want to, and then I start speculating in my mind of what could possibly be, what could be, who knows? And that's where theories come in. That's when fun theories come in. And I love a fun theory, Let's just hypothesize together. Exhibit A or option A. It's a multiple choice. You're taking an exam as a multiple choice if you had to guess what's going on. On a multiple choice, you have everybody who's been photographed and named has somehow done a crime regarding pedophilia and trafficking children and sexually molesting young children, specifically girls. That's option A. That's on the table because y'all look sus. I don't want, and again, we've got our preferences. You're like, oh, this guy, I don't want it to be true. But then you see them kind of like low-key all hole in the line. It makes people look sus. Is all I'm saying. Can't deny that. You can, but that, the majority of public, I think, looks at you and says that something's sus. Even the hardcore fans of whoever, they might be like, oh, it looks a little bit sus. So that's option A. Option B, some of the people who've been photographed and or mentioned and or documented have done some crimes. Others are just visitors, friends, bystanders, friend of a friend who showed up to a place. That could be, but then option A and B low-key touch each other, because if high-powered high-level individuals are implicated and they have a lot of pull in society, talking about, again, diplomats, politicians, actors, people, who have, got a certain level of clearance and are up there, rubbing elbows with one another. So if those guys are implicated, maybe there's pressure from those guys or those certain people towards the other ones who are just there as bystanders to be cool, all right? You say nothing and nothing ever happened. So it's practically, at this point, I don't know. My mind goes to, has somebody reached out to Trump and told him to be quiet? Is that on the table? And this is where I wish we had access to some sort of low-key, again, it's that big old, many of questions. Privacy in terms of agency over your own body and your own mind, but also having access to people's mind would have been right. It would have been nice right now. If you had access to, how do we get the truth? That's the thing. Maybe a lie detector, but those are not 100% either. So again, down the line, telepathy of the mind somehow, if we could get, mind reading via either evolution or some sort of tech, again, pros and cons, because it comes, again, privacy, you might lack some of that. Would you like to know some secrets? Yes, I would. I'd love to know some secrets. God, give me all the secrets. I'd love to know. So, that could be used as a sell point, or as and you want to know secret, get shipped. Elon Musk, just a few months ago, when he was beefing with Trump, he's like, oh, look at this. He went on Twitter or X and tweeted, he's somehow, he's got, I forget what he tweeted, but he somehow, he was implying that Donald Trump might be, somehow involved in all of this, and then now they're good. So it's just been a lot of, high power, quote unquote, elite, high status people at first giving one kind of opinion and thought based on certain evidence, and then redacting, and then going back on it and saying, nothing to see here, nothing to look for here. It's just whatever we have, you have. And just seems a little sus, is all I'm saying, the whole sitch. Option three. Again, I like to go in theories, just fucking putting the tinfoil hats on and getting fun, because that's what we like to do sometimes. We like to have fun, don't we? Yeah, we do. Yeah, I do. Who's lactating from their tits? You are. Who's got a little pre-cum because of all this theorizing and speculating? This one, none of it is true. This is some sort of sick, high level, the elite of the elite get to play mind tricks on people, and this is how they get their kicks. Options, it's multiple choice. Option number C, or letter C. It's a sick game. They get their kicks in the background by playing sus characters, because that's how they get their kicks, their sick kicks. They make a fake story about the entire, not to take away from the actual, because this type of stuff, of course, goes on in and around the world. Pedophilia, trafficking children, all this, it goes on, of course. But, you want to use some sort of you want to distract people from all the other fuck shit that you might be involved in. Create a story, and then again, these all, who knows? Again, this is the fun, speculative aspect of it. It could just be a sick story with no actual, and you're like, but that would take a whole lot of people to be in on it. That would, it might take a whole lot of people to be on a lot of things. And that's just a fun little theory. Who knows? Might just be a psyop and a waste of time. Might just be that to get you, and we'll never find the answers, like JFK, who knows? And then at the end of the day, you're just like, well, maybe everybody did it. And then that's still no clarity either. That's still just speculation, no actual clarity. So it is a good psyop, or is a combination of all four possible answers, or three answers. Could be other things on the table, of course. Has anyone threatened anybody? People will, keep their mouth shut for a lot of money and also being threatened. Has anyone Anyone? What about the victims? Why don't you go to social media? Why don't you just like, name some people who, name some people and be like, I'd like to see this person in court, and then name them, and then be like, on this date, this person on this plane or island molested me. And that would give a little bit of clarity. Of course, that's putting the heavy lifting on the victim's shoulders, which that's not, it's not fair. It's not, but that's life as well. It's not fair. It's not, some of it is not easy, but you got baby Jesus in your heart, and he's shining that light inside your heart. And it's probably best if you still, additional lighting goes a long way, but nonetheless, you got baby Jesus in your heart. Come forward. If you know something, say something. And isn't that what they always say? If you know something, say something. So say something. If you know something. God. Just give me one afternoon with all these punks in a room and just, again, I put my detective hat on, my detective coat, I wear my high socks, and I wear my boxer briefs, and maybe I take a couple of shits before the interrogation begins, because you want an empty stomach. I want this bowel just emptied out, but once we get to the questioning, sure, I might still need to go to like take a pee break, but it might take 2 to 3 hours. 7 to 8 hours, 10 to 12 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, maybe up to a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month. But nonetheless, everybody would be, you'd sit down and I'll shine a light in your eye, in your pupils right there. The ceiling fan inside the room's not working. It's getting hot. Precipitation is starting to form on your forehead. And you haven't showered for 3 days. So it's a little bit sweaty. And it's a little salty, and then it goes in, and the sweat drop goes in your eye. Oh, it's in your tear duct. It's burning my eye. Too much salt in my sweat because I haven't showered in. My eye. And then answers would just start spilling out of your mouth because of this salty sweat that's gone into your eyes. And there's plenty more of that, baby. Plenty more of that. So yeah, that's the old Epstein-Aru thus far. Who knows what'll happen? And again, speaking of deaths and faking deaths, you know who faked a death? Christian Gutierrez. I read about this fella. He was a Mexican cartel member, a high-ranking cartel member, 28 years old. His girlfriend's father happens to also be a high-ranking cartel member in Mexico. He's just gotten 11 years. He's been sentenced to 11 years. He allegedly has done kidnapping of 2 Mexican naval officers, and also he's been involved in trafficking a lot of cocaine and meth into the US. So he got 11 years, but what was interesting about this guy is that he faked his death, is what he did. He faked his death, and he was living in California, dude. Oh, I love faking a death. I love a good faking of the old death-a-roo. I wonder to myself, I'm like, how many people have faked their own death? I bet there are a lot more. I bet that some people have. Some people definitely. No, it's not zero. How many people? It's not zero. People do things. People shove things in places where they shouldn't shove them. People sleep in places where they shouldn't sleep. People hang in, and opposite, they'll hang upside down for a really long time, and that's just like, I want to know what it's like to be a bat. And they'll do this. So people do things. People get, they split their tongues in half. People do things. People get fake plastic babies and pretend they're real baby. People do things, People get tattoos all over their body and they become like a human lizard. People do things. So there's somebody out there throughout history, hundreds of thousands of, if not millions of years of human history. Some people have faked their deaths. And this guy did it. And this guy fucking did it. I love it. But he got caught. I don't like, I'm not a fan of the kidnapping and the cartelling. That part I'm not a fan, but I enjoy a good faking of the old death. If I have the access and the means, low-key I do want to fake my death. Low-key I do. It'd be nice. I don't know, towards the end though, like when I'm like 98, I'll like fake my death at 98 and then come back when I'm like 103 and be like, still around, motherfucker. Because you don't want to go out too early either. That's another thing, So if I could, or maybe, it'd be nice to, because you don't want to miss out on life. or I guess you're not missing out on life. Technically just, going under a whole different identity. It's a whole thing. How do you even do it? I'm fascinated. Can we get somebody, I'd like to interview, if you are out there, I don't even know how to I'm learning, I'm growing, taking one tiny step at a time, trying to get in this, or, it's a whole thing. So I don't know how I'm supposed to get this guest, but if you faked your own death and have come out of faking your own death and you'd like to give an interview, I'd like to interview you. If you're anywhere in the GTA area, contact me on my Instagram. If you're somewhere where you've got the means to fly in, we can do that as well. Contact me on my Instagram. You can message me there. We'll figure it out. We'll sit down and have an interview with you, and it'll be fun. I'd like to get a guest who's faked their own death. But this guy got caught. So what you're not supposed to do, this guy got caught. And I don't want to say I know things about faking your own death because I've not done it. But low key, you don't smuggle a ton of meth and cocaine into the US and then go hide out in the US, dude. You go for, or do you? Or do you go to the US? Because low key, they're looking for you right there. Where is the best place to hide? In plain sight. But no, it'd be better if you just went to should have gone to South America somewhere, man. Why would you go to the US? It's dangerous, son. A lot of, but you did it. He got caught living life in Cali with his hot girlfriend, apparently. I don't know if she was hot or not, but probably. Cartel bosses typically have hot daughters, is what I imagine in my mind. They could also have an ugly daughter who they're trying to get rid of, and it's maybe she is an ugly. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Point is that he got caught. So lessons learned here: if you're gonna fake your own death, if you're in the North American area, it'd probably be best to just switch to another continent. Anywhere, actually. That's probably that's the rule of thumb, or rule number one. Get out of the continent. That's, don't come back later if you like, but in the early first decade or two, you should just be in a different continent. That's the whole. So if you see somebody and somebody recognizes you, God, you should probably, oh man, that's the thing. You're gonna have to get plastic surgery a little bit. Which if you get to, take away millions, maybe even billions, maybe even trillions of dollars, dude. How much would it take for you to fake your own death, say goodbye to all your family and friends, and pack up and leave and go live a whole new life? And if you see somebody and they recognize you at you're in the tropics, just at a bar, drinking beautiful, handmade, handcrafted drinks, tropical fruity drinks with a lot of rum, and you're smoking cigarettes and having espressos, right? And then somebody sees you and they're like, John, is that you? What would you do? You'd either have to punch them in the face and be like, this guy tried to touch my dick. And I'd be like, I think, and there's bystanders there, and they're like, no, sorry, he's just asking you if you're John, and you just punch him in the face. He's all the way across but he just tried to touch my dick. He just asked you if you're John. Why'd you come across and punch him in the face, man? You guys, man, I don't know what this guy's done to you, but clearly he was about to touch my dick, and he's got you all bamboozled into thinking he's not about to touch me, but he was about to touch my dick, and I had to just punch him in the face. So that's that. And no, we've never met. Maybe you punched the bartender in the face and maybe a couple of bystanders, and man, were you guys all just trying to touch my dick? And just get that story. Just, punch everybody on your way out and accuse them of wanting to touch your dick. The bouncer, the security punch him. Yeah, security guard wanted to touch my dick. Get out of here. Get in a cab, punch the cab driver in the face. This guy's trying to touch my dick. And he's not even doing anything. He's just trying to drive you to your location. Get in your condo, punch the security guard at the condo in the face. This guy trying to touch my dick. You'd have to lead that life. So that could be a whole thing. Or you immediately nip it in the bud. John, is that you? You start making out with him or her. Hopefully it's a her if you're hetero. But if it's a man, you got to do some gay shit because he's going, John, is that you? And next thing you know, you're tongue wrestling this motherfucker. Shut the fuck up. Just, tongue wrestling. Just fucking, fingering his ass and stroking his cock and tongue wrestling. So he keeps his mouth shut. You got to move. Again, the options are punch him in the face, make out with him, or no, stand there like an idiot and be like, and next thing you know, everybody's like, holy shit, this guy's been telling us his name's Marcus, but he's actually John. What is going on? Next thing you know, fucking Interpol, dude. Helicopters, choppers above your head. Your curtains are blowing. You're sitting in your apartment in Havana. Next thing you know, your curtains are being blown away by the wind created by the beautiful propellers of the helicopter. Next thing you know, there's agents, federales, deploying on the beach. Oh my God, watch out. Grenades. You're behind bars. You're doing anal sex in El Salvador because they sent you to that max prison in El Salvador because you've now been, and that's with 40,000 other inmates, one of the largest prisons in all the world, and that could be, you're like, and you get in there, you're like, what is this? And they're like, this is a large prison. You're like, but is it also like, could it be turned into a business? Because low-key, what if we turned El Salvador or some other nation state into a prison? We just dumped all the world's prisoners in there. And you're contemplating that, and to that I say, my friend, you got bigger things on your mind that you should be tackling instead of wondering whether or not this max security prison is going to be turned into some sort of prison or not. That's a global business, but it's neither here or there. The point is that what do you do? It's a difficult life is all I'm trying to say. And that guy was just a cartel member, high ranking or not, just a cartel member, and he did it. He faked his death. You're telling me some other people who are in intelligence can't fake deaths? You're telling me some people who have been, presidents or, again, high ranking celebrities who have been artists who have also been low-key, maybe low-key part of the intel, who knows? You know what I'm talking? Who knows, dog? Who knows? That's where the speculative aspect of theorization comes in, and motherfuckers want to be like, and we don't know, dude. I just like a little bit of clarity is all I want. But this was pretty cool. So fake your own death this Christmas. You want to get out of child support, man. Nothing beats the faking of the old death. You want to get rid of having to, visit your dementia-riddled grandparents. Fake your own death. Get out of there. You're young. Enjoy your life. They want to remember you're gone. They won't. What are we even talking about, ladies and gentlemen? It is Christmas time, and in the spirit of Christmas, somebody did something in Montreal. A bunch of people did something in Montreal, which kind of low-key touched my heart, but also it's borderline criminal, which also is where my heart lays, just right there down the center, somewhere between the law and criminality. That's where he always stepped in, somewhere between law and criminality. Dun 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 dun. He had baby Jesus in his arm when he was taking steps between law and criminality. Our law and criminality. Robins of the Alleys in Montreal, Canada, went in the past few days and robbed a few grocery stores, but not for a selfish reason. If it was one of those instances where they're like, oh, we're bum rushing these grocery stores just to thieve for thievery's sake, then I would have been like, this doesn't make me excited. But low-key it did, because they did something nice with the food. They gave it to the needy. Apparently they did this. So they, how do I feel about this? They cited inflation, high cost of food and living, and that's not, they're not lying. I'll say that. They're not lying. I'm not condoning thieving and stealing, but they donated all the food to like a police station and other places. So shout out to the Robins, because you gotta do something with this. It's difficult times for some people out there. If you're, if we're lucky enough to be able to feed ourselves, it's a blessing. It's a blessing, of course, but some people really go through difficult times. So my heart goes out to those individuals who have to resort to, whether it's food banks or, other places where they might be able to get a bite. So yeah, if you're going out, I'm not yet advocating stealing or thieving. Something should, there should be some, food is gone. Food prices in Canada, I don't know about you guys out there, food prices have gone up. You go to a grocery store, a little piece of steak or meat just costs, oh man, it's cray-cray. Chicken, same thing, all the cost of living in general, So these things have been, and again, it's these things that are important, but then they might be just fucking with us and getting us to talk about, is even Epstein real, or is the whole thing is sci-fi, or a psyop or whatever, and Who knows? So, but these guys did that. That's beautiful, man. I don't condone it, but like low key, if I know that there's hungry people getting food, that kind of warms my heart. Should be some sort of program that assists people who are really in need. I mean, there are probably some programs, there could always be more programs, and that maybe, you know, we need to work together is what it essentially says. This because people shouldn't be going out there and robbing grocery stores to feed the hungry. But also it is kind of crazy how in Canada, I believe it's 3 companies, 3 major corporations that essentially owns all the grocery stores in Canada. So they've kind of monopolized the food market, you could say that. So it's, you know, it makes prices go higher. And I don't know the full details of the whole story, but that's kind of the gist of it. You know, people monopolize a certain market, they raise the costs and, you know, of production, they make it harder on the farmers. Farmers raise the costs, and that bottom line impacts the consumers, which is just like you and me. And I bet it's always more complicated, but I bet it could always be, you know, a little bit simpler as well. It's like, you know, make profits, but also maybe in a first world, you know, nation, we shouldn't have people who are growing hungry. So that, you know, maybe we could work on that. Something to strive for, hopefully. So Robins of the Alleys, again, right there between law and criminality, and that's where I get off. That's where I get on. That's where I get off to that. I get on it as well. I've been known to get on and off it, you know. So right there with you, but also let us come together, brethren and sistren. You're like, no, we need them to do more in order to not, you know, what if, you know, because this is essentially stealing. So we don't agree with it. What if they did more? What if they fed the homeless? What if they stole the food and breastfed? You know, what if they hung like a little drumstick off their tit and then cradled a 45-year-old homeless man and just like let him nibble on the drumstick that's hanging off your tits, your male tits? How about that? Like feeding the homeless via tit, you know, duct tape a drumstick to your tit, put in a homeless man's mouth while you're cradling him, burp him, change his diaper. Maybe if they did that, maybe there'd be a little bit more public sympathy. So that's, you know, here we are. Skirt, time to pivot, time to skirt, time to shift. Taking a trip all the way to the UK. I believe there's a gentleman called Daniel Peasnell. 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 Doesn't matter. Daniel. He attended a wedding just a few days ago, I believe. I heard a story a few days ago. I don't know when the wedding was, to be honest. It could have been a month ago. I just heard the story right now. Attended a wedding, apparently like one of his best friend's wedding. Starts drinking, having a little bit of fun, and then so his best friend or one of his friends is the groom, and then he got drunk and then bit the groom's uncle's finger off, and people got all upset. And you know, if you're gonna start, you gotta understand why people are upset. It's I guess to Daniel, but also defending Daniel. Everybody's gotta have a little bit of understanding. People see you start biting off a finger, of course they're gonna be upset. Of course they're gonna be, because what do we learn as children? As children, we learn at a young age that you should not waste food. You should not waste food. So they see you taking a bite out of his finger, the groom's uncle's finger, and they know you can't finish the entire thing, dog. They know you. That's just, again, hence he bit more than he could chew. And let us enjoy that. What is that? Is that a holiday song in the background? Baby Jesus, he was a strong baby. He was ripped. He didn't work out in a gym, but he had abs. He had abs, total body workout. Body weight exercises is how he got ripped, and eating fish. He ate a lot of fish and other stuff too. And rap. What were we talking about? That's right, Daniel. Ladies and gentlemen, so Daniel, everybody got mad at you, boy, because you could start eating off a finger. You gotta be really hungry to start eating off somebody's fingers. Then you gotta finish off the rest, man. You can't. And people are like, man, this uncle's gonna just not get eaten whole, and that sucks. You think the uncle's happy about that? No. So if you want to start eating somebody, grab other people who want to eat with you. So you actually attack it from different sides. You grab one finger, somebody else grabs another finger, somebody grabs a toe, somebody goes down on the cock, and together you could finish the entire uncle. It'd be a waste to just eat one finger and then have, because that's gonna just be an open wound. It's gonna get infected. That uncle's gonna get flies circling him at nighttime. Vultures are gonna be flying over his home and in the UK, and that's not fun. Actually, he's walking in public just oozing blood with his wife and family members. I don't know who he's got in his life, but he's gonna be walking dripping blood. And his arm's getting infected. Bacteria has taken over into his entire body. It's black. His whole arm is turned black. He's gonna have to get it amputated. He doesn't have time, so his entire body turns black, and he has to get amputated. The only thing that could survive is his head, and he's gonna have to decide: do I want to live with a bionic body and just my head? And he's got like vultures picking at him, and then nobody likes that, Daniel. So bring 2-3 other people who are also hungry, who want to eat a human, and tackle it together, so you can see why people got upset at you. At the same rate, I want to say to people who are upset at Daniel that at least he challenged himself. It's around that new, at least he challenged himself. A lot of people like to watch videos of other people eating large sums of food. You've seen this. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views of people watching people eat a lot of food. A fella or a gal shows up to a restaurant. They got a challenge, a giant burger. Everybody happens to like that. What? So you wouldn't like to see another person eat another person in full and finish it? Of course. Many of us are thinking to ourselves, no way could he finish it. But of course he can't once we don't give him we didn't even give him the chance, man. We didn't even give him the chance. He could have. We don't know. I don't know Daniel. Maybe he could eat a whole person. But guess what? Everybody just like, oh, he bit off one finger, and let's arrest this fella and lose perspective of what's important and what's at stake. So all in all, sharing is caring for Daniel. Learn to share that large body you're gonna be eating a human. Share it with others, and to the others also, let's not be. It's that time of year. Jesus big on forgiveness, big on understanding, and love. So maybe support your friend. How good was this uncle anyway? Was he like a mid uncle? Was he like was like one of those like good uncles? Did he pull up? Was he there? Or was he whatever? Or did he beat his wife or kiss? Maybe he was that uncle. So who knows? But people like to jump to conclusions. All I'm saying is, during these times, let us try to be a little bit more understanding of one another. That's the story of Daniel. Skirt, ladies and gentlemen. It was just a beautiful power outage in San Francisco just had a huge power outage. 130K left in the dark. Waymos and other electric vehicles turned off, and they stopped working, and people got murdered and raped. And okay, maybe not, but it could have happened. It could have easily happened. What if it was a prolonged power outage? 130K, that's a lot. And it reminded me of, I'm watching Pluribus at this what's this? You know what I'm talking about. Platypus. There's a new series everybody's talking about, so I started watching it. It is good. Platypus. Pluribus. Pluripus. It's easier to break it down. Pluripus. Multiple pus. Pluribus. Pus. Pus. Plurib. Pluripus. Multiple pus. Pluripus. Multiple pussies. Pussi. One pussy is singular for puss. Plural pluripus. Pussi. So I'm watching that, and there's a scene of a blackout, or the hive mind creates a blackout, because like, why would you need to have electricity? No spoilers or anything, but there's a scene depicting, sections of the town or city or country going in full mode blackouts because they got to conserve energy. Point is, I'm watching that, and I saw this. 130K, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of neighborhoods. That's a lot of people. That's like, And again, with the whole Waymo thing, the self-driving cars, this is one of those examples where I would never ever want to be in. I don't ever want to be in one of those self-driving cars or one of those robo-taxis or what. Oh man, there have been plenty of videos of them just like, going places where they're not supposed to. There's a cop that's pulled somebody over, and these guys just like drive right through the crime scene. There's videos of them just like circling in the parking lot, just all of them turning on and off at the same. That's just way too much. That's giving them way too much control for my liking. Maybe you'd like to, have the doors lock on you, have the computer have a nervous breakdown and just like turn in circles and lock the doors, and then you're pregnant with your pregnant ass, you fat prego, and you're like, oh no, I'm breaching or whatever. The baby's reaching, the baby's coming, and the baby's like trying to climb its way out of your puss, and you're stuck in a Waymo. But they say that it's gonna be. They're doing this because they don't trust human driving. They said that the computers and the robots and the AI is gonna be better. There's gonna be some growing pains. In the meantime, you're gonna be circling in parking lots, not taking you to your destination and then letting you out, and during a blackout, you get used to it. 10-20 years, if it becomes normal, and then in 10-20 years the grid goes down, maybe even earlier, the grid goes down for whatever reason, solar flares, a cyber attack, who knows, and the next thing you know, you're like, we gotta get out of here. The car, turn on. And guess what? Your entire family's been eaten ass first by the freaking zombies, man, because you're like, I'll invest in green energy and I trust robots more than I trust humans. I'll get a robocar. You're dead. Your family's dead. Maybe you're alive, but you saw your wife and children and pets, your goldfish, dead. An AIDS monkey is chewing on your goldfish's head. Just ate your goldfish. You've had that goldfish for like 8 years. It was a miracle. How'd you keep him alive? Doesn't matter. He's dead now because of your robot car. So there's that. So, get yourself a car with gasoline. That's my take on the whole thing. Don't ever, you never know. I want a gasoline car that I can fill up with gas for a limited, at least to give me a little bit of a better chance. Because if shit hits the fan, you gotta be always prepared. Better to have a car on gas than to have a car that's on the grid. It can be turned on. That's my personal opinion. You guys get in your, more people are locked in their cars, less people in my way. That's the way I, get in those robo cars. Get it. Put all your family and friends in robo cars. Do it. Ladies and gents. Somebody asked a beautiful question, and they're wondering when is it appropriate? Thank you for that question. When is it appropriate to compliment my lover's genitals? When is the best time to give my lover a compliment on his or her genitals? We're talking about his cock and or her puss. When is the appropriate time? That's such a lovely question, especially during these times. And we need to be uplifting one another. People who are in relationships, holding it down, holding it up, holding each other tight. And that's a wonderful question, because this is, yeah, you're like, yeah, I could just, let them know in private that they've got a beautiful cock or that they've got a wonderful puss. I could let them know that in private. But when's the best time? And again, key component of the question, the best time to give your lover a compliment on his or her genital is a plural, because maybe they've got multiple genitals. I would say in front of friends, in front of whenever you're having a get together, like especially during your holidays, that's actually an excellent time. Maybe it's your first year hosting. And you've prepared the entire Christmas din, and everybody's gathered around the table, both families, multiple families, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 families, all different families that are part of your family, some friends, maybe 100 people are at your place, got a large family. And you just, during, after dinner, before dessert, everybody ready, before you say everybody ready for dessert, you just be like, you know what? Michael's got a huge cock, everyone. I just want to say that. Now, who's ready for some dessert? And that way, you've given a compliment to your husband in front of the entire family. And that's a wonderful, beautiful, just a demonstration of love and devotion. Or you're like, where else is appropriate for me to compliment my lover's genitals? Let's say you're at work and you're giving a big presentation in front of everybody. Your wife's not even there. You know what you could do? And right in the middle of the presentation, the stocks are up and the bubble is good. The bubble is a good bubble. It's a safe and firm bubble, and the prices are skyrocketing, and we're about to merge and dethrone the guys at the top, and we're gonna be number one. You know what else? My girl's got a very tight puss, and that's when you drop it in. And this time, when you sit in front of everybody, now everybody knows. Everybody knows that your girl's got the tightest puss, and that's when you drop a compliment. It'd be nicer if actually she was there. I don't know if you could somehow find it or arrange it so that your girl is watching you, mid presentation. Maybe call her FaceTimer, put her on FaceTimer, put the phone down on the table, the conference table, give the compliment to the boardroom, or bring her in person. Why not? Bring her, bring a family to work day, bring a family member to work day, bring her and then give her a compliment right there. Next time you get a call from your child's school, we need to have a parent-teacher meeting. Show up. Leave your kid at home. They don't even matter. Leave them at home, but show up. And while the teacher is just having a conversation about, Lucy's academic achievements and failures, maybe just drop a couple of hints as to how perky her tits are and how juicy her puss is to Miss L'Oreal or whatever her name is, and be like, you know what, Miss L'Oreal, we hear you, but also my wife's got a very, very moist pussy. So thank you for your input. I think we know how to raise a kid. And that's one of the wonderful places and times where you can drop that compliment. Other places, other instances. Let's say, a lot of people are like, oh, what if I'm low-key in a hospital and there's because I had to drive my friend who's got a broken arm. You're sitting there in the emergency room, and everybody, there's a person that's been shot like several times, and they're putting a little bandage on his ass. There's a person next to you vomiting because he's got food poisoning, where he mistook poison for food and he just ingested pure poison. So really he just got poisoned, but he thought it was food. And and that's when the doctors are coming in, and it's 3:45 a.m. everybody's tired, and you just get up just to change the mood and be like, you know what, everybody, my girl's asshole is the tightest asshole. And next thing you know, you'll still have to sit down and wait for your friend's arm to get checked out and fixed. But at least not only lightens up the mood, but also is a great place to give your girlfriend a compliment. Again, having her there would be fantastic because she sees you giving that compliment. Pick up your girlfriend before you take your friend with the broken arm to the emergency room. That way, you give the compliment, she sees you giving the compliment, everybody receives the compliment, and everybody appreciates it, and we all feel the love together. There you go. So I hope that answers your question. Really, the takeaway is there's no wrong or right place or wrong or right time to give a compliment to your girlfriend and or boyfriend or your man's or woman's genitals. There you go. You're welcome. You're welcome. Somebody else came in and asked us, I've been a long time eater of whipped cream out of my girlfriend's asshole, and people sometimes get, up in arms and upset at the fact that I'm eating whipped cream out of my girlfriend's asshole in front of them. Is it right that I just eat the whipped cream all by myself, or should I be sharing the whipped cream out of my girlfriend's asshole when I'm doing it in front of people? It's a good question. It's a solid question. It's very relevant to the times. It's seasonal. I like it. So to share or not to share the whipped cream that's coming out of your girlfriend's asshole. One could say that each individual should be responsible for getting their own whipped cream out of their own girlfriend's asshole, But there is also a point to be made for sharing is caring. Let's say you've brought 2-3 cans of whipped cream and your girl is right there, just waiting to have the whipped cream in her asshole so that she can squirt it back in your mouth. If you're running through 2-3 cans, depends on the number of people. Like if it was just like a couple people, I could, because there's, I say if it's like 2 to 3 people, it wouldn't hurt you to share a little bit of whipped cream coming out of your girlfriend's asshole. It wouldn't hurt. It's 2-3 people. What's the big deal? Now, if it does get to larger groups, I could see how it could become problematic, because then next thing you know, if you feed one, now you got to feed the whole crew. It is a lot of pressure, it is a lot of pressure. I'll leave it up to you for this one, to be honest. Like, go with what your gut tells you, if you feel like, and that's the thing too, sometimes people see somebody eating whipped cream out of their girlfriend's asshole and they're like, oh man, this guy's got all the whipped cream and all the asshole. You don't know. They might be on limited asshole and whipped cream, dude. So you're thinking so don't be that guy either, or that gal, just selfishly looking, why won't they share? Maybe they just brought enough for the two of them. Don't expect, but also don't be stingy. You meet each other halfway, is what I say. If it's a small group of people, I say it's okay to share a little bit if you've got enough. Larger groups, I think people should remind themselves that it's not this individual and his girlfriend's responsibility to feed everybody whipped cream coming out of her asshole. And that's not fair. That's too much responsibility. You can't feed. What's next? You're gonna feed the entire, office. You're gonna feed the entire, whatever. You're at the movie theater, and you're gonna share the whipped cream and the girlfriend's asshole with the entire population that's at the movie theater? That's unreasonable. What's next? Feeding the entire town, the entire municipal population with your girlfriend's asshole and cans of whipped, how much money you're gonna have to spend on whipped cream to feed the entire population of this? That's too much. It's too much. So again, a little bit of personal responsibility, a little bit of teamwork, and saying, hey, I could see that you guys are in the middle of nowhere, car's broken down, why don't we all just engage in eating some whipped cream out of my girlfriend's asshole while we figure this whole sitch out, So meet each other maybe somewhere halfway through. That's what I would say. But again, to your own discretion, it's your life. It's your life. There's no right or wrong answers here. Remember that. Skirt, baby. It's that time. A little bit of science, a little bit of fiction, a little bit of nonfiction, just a little bit of life. I believe there's a company called Reflection Orbital. Or was it Orbital Reflection? Reflection Orbital. I want to say it's a California-based startup, and what these beautiful people, these beautiful sons and daughters of bitches want to be doing is they want to be putting up mirrors in space by 2030, 4,000 of them by 2030, and they say that it could help warm up some places if need be, or places that are sometimes dark, could add more light to them. And how do I feel about this? I like to say that, 4,000 mirrors in space there's different theories. There's people they want to, do different things in space. And it is it's interesting because it's like low-key, we gotta, both gotta, manipulate our environment, but we don't want to manipulate it that much so that we ruin it or damage it or damage it. If you're francophone, 4,000 mirrors in space. Could we I'd be open to it if we all go, do I or other citizens of the world get a certain hour of the day where they get to control the direction of the reflection off the mirrors? Because if I can't personally control, because I could, if you're like, oh, we need to put it up in space and we have total control over where the light is going to be shone. I mean, that's a lot of control, and if I'm not, we got to be participating about, this is a global effort. If we're going to be doing this, I can't have you shining a light in one spot. That's your favorite spot. You're like, I want the light to be in this one spot. What about me then? What about other effort? Forget me, dude. Fuck me, dude. Fuck me sideways on a Monday and a Wednesday and maybe a Friday and even the weekends. But Tuesdays and Thursdays, you take those days off if you like. But otherwise, fuck me, dude. Or just, or even Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm down, if you're down, I don't really care. I don't have, I was just thinking about you. If you want to go all day, every day, we can go all day, every day. But the point is, ladies and gents, that I'd like for all of us to have a little bit of the, because you never know. Let's say you got somebody who low-key just, rubs you the wrong way and you don't want to fucking take it there, but low-key, you wouldn't mind maybe magnifying light in their eye for a few seconds of the day, an hour, give you an hour at least. So if the average person gets a little bit of, me time with these 4,000 mirrors so that they could reflect the light where they like, I'm open to it. If it's just going to be owned by one company who manages the, light distribution or, now extra light in our place, that's a little bit, I want people to have access. If they're putting up 4,000 mirrors, if they don't want to share, can I put up mirrors in space myself? Can I put my mirrors up there? Because what if you shine a light somewhere and I don't like it, or somebody else doesn't like it? Can they put a bunch of mirrors up in space so they can shine a light somewhere maybe, and then you're like, we don't agree with what they're doing and where they're shining this light. Well, that's, so maybe sharing is essentially what I'm saying. It'd be weird to just have total control of this giant ass mirror in the sky and have one group or one person or, one company just own it. But I'm also for it, but I'm also a little bit just, just always be careful. Be careful what you do out there. Because what if we get rid of nighttime? What if we shine so much light and then we get no nighttime, and then every place in the world just gets no sleep and everybody becomes sleep deprived? Sure, the first day everybody's just like, yeah, we're a sleep deprived nation. Everybody, throwing beads on each other's necks. Ladies, flashing everybody with their tits. Men using their penises as propellers to maybe take off the ground, maybe about 6 inches. Not complete flight, but like a flightless bird using their propeller penises to just briefly defy gravity. And that's all fun and games for 12 hours, 16, 18 hours. But fucking come, even after a day, everybody was everybody's still, some people will probably lay down and take a nap. They'll try to, but they can't because now it's total brightness everywhere. Others were like, oh, we don't even need sleep. Fuck sleep. Longevity all day, every day. where are my injections? And, stabbing themselves with needles and taking IVs. And they're like, we don't need to sleep. And then 24 hours goes by, 48 hours. A lot of people are just like passing out, dying. There's still some populations that are like, we never need sleep, 72 hours. You go past 3 days without sleep, everybody loses their mind, all right? Starts doing unspeakable things, humping trees, going to the petting zoo and getting petted by the pets at the zoo, reverse petting zoo, all sorts of horrendous satanic shit. So before you go out there and play around with the lighting switch, I say, hey, how many hours do I get control of the mirrors, and is there an app that I need to download on my phone? And if not, then you continue doing what you're doing, and perhaps they'll be competitors, and maybe I could reach out to them. Think about that. Of course, speaking of space, Blue Origin, that's Jeff Bezos' company, right? Blue Origin? Jeff Bezos' company, Blue Origin, right? It's Jeff Bezos'. That's right. They just put the first crippled, handicapped, physically retarded person in space. It was a female. It's a German female, 33 years old. So Blue Origin just put the first physically retarded human being in space. And to that I say, listen, I get it. They're not, I'm fine with them. Is it convenient to have them around? No, it's not convenient. I get it, dude. Physical and mental retardations are not the fun thing to have around. So I get it. You want to put them outside, out of sight, I get it. But my question is not just to Blue Origin, but to the entirety of humanity. I get it, okay? They're a pain in the butt, annoying, time-consuming, energy-sucking, resource-sucking, just make everything slower with their physical and mental. I get it. You don't have to tell me, but are they that bad though? Is what I'm saying. Do we need to put them into space? Okay. They went so far as to call this woman an engineer, is what they call her, right? And they want to play a little bit of the old, Shutter Island behavior, essentially, is pretending to go along with the situation just to either assist or low-key get rid of. So they're like, yeah, put this physically handicapped individual in space. She's an engineer, dude. She's paralyzed. Okay, let's and I get it with I gotta have my own special parking spots, but treat me the same. I gotta get priority lineup position when I'm boarding a plane or going on a roller coaster, but also treat me the same. Oh, I need to get assist. It's God, I get it, but my question is are they that bad though? They're not that bad. Low-key, I get it. Some of them are drooling, some of them are limping, some of them have amputated body parts, nubs, disgusting nubs. I know, okay? You don't have to tell me, but my question is are they that bad that we need to move them into outer space so that we don't have, come on, guys. Is there not? I get it. They slow everything down. We pick up the pace. We're being chased by a, serial killer out here in the alley, but no, let me just use my arms to move the wheels on this wheelchair. We told you to get an electronic wheelchair, and we were willing to pitch in and help with the funds. We were no, I like to still have a little bit of agency, and it's so I get it. I mean, how many times have they scuffed your brand new shoes when they were being, put inside one of those large vans that are, the mobility cabs or whatever for the handicap? They scuff your brand new sneakers, and you're like, son of a bitch. Hey, what do we do? So I get it, but like, look, they're not that bad. We don't need to put them into space to say that, what are we gonna have in space? Just floating handicaps, just fucking, and they can't move that much. And what are we gonna? It's not pretend that we're not gonna pretend to. I'm not buying this thing that we're gonna put the handicapped in space and that they have a difficult time here. Think of the many potholes that are on the moon and other places. They're gonna be a hindrance. So I understand. You're like, we're tired of these people. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear. I get it. But at the same rate, they're not that bad, right? Let's not ship them off into space, you guys. Jesus. That's just my take on it. If you want to, who am I, dude? If you want to ship them off into space, by all means. More parking spots available for this guy. What have we been talking about, ladies and gentlemen? Let me just get this off my chest because I think it's time. Today's the day. If any day of the year is today. There's been an issue. It's been on a lot of people's minds and needs to be dealt with today. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. I'm talking about the animosity between the large-titted and small-titted female population out there. We need to put an end to it. This whole large-titted women versus small-titted women, this whole animosity between the two groups needs to end today. Let Jesus in your heart, let your heart shine, and just learn that just because there's the large-titted population, of course. They say that we can suck on our own tits. Look at us sucking on our own. They lay back or lift or sit down and just put a tit in their own mouth and they go to town on that, and they belittle the small-titted female population, the bitches. And they make fun of them. They're like, you got small tits, you can't suck on your own titties. You can't try to suck your own titty. This little A cup or B cup can't suck her own. And it's sad. It's sad. At the same rate, you see the small-titted females play with their tits and laugh at the faces of the large-titted female population and say, suck on those tits now. Enjoy them when you're past, 35, 40, and they start drooping down to your knees. Enjoy your large, suckable titties now, sister, because in the long run, the small tits sag way less than large tits. So we'll see who has the last laugh. To this, I say enough is enough. I've seen enough. I'm tired of it. I don't want to the bitches out there, put all this nonsense behind you or in front of you, but we love you, all of you, whether you're small-titted or large-titted. You both have your advantages and disadvantages, but is one really better than the other? Ladies and gentlemen, leave a comment. I think it needs to be finished, over and done with. No more fighting, no more comparing, Let the tits unite. Tits were invented to unite. They were made so that they could buy happiness. That's what they were made for. So you could buy, and there are different forms of happiness you could buy with tits. So there's no better or worse. And this whole, females going after females for their tit size, we're going into a new year soon. Okay, take this time, put it behind you. Perfect the way you are with your large or small tit, and you're loved regardless. And there's no one better than anyone, all right? We're all equally lactating. That's all I had to say about this little piece. Hey. Sometimes we get there with the difficult topics, I know, and you're like, how do you do it when no one else is willing to go there? I don't want to say that it's I just, I just think of myself as just a small piece of the puzzle. That's, and we're doing it together. I mean, yeah. I don't want to hear it. You're like, some of these topics, do you really, and yeah, you're right. Nobody else does talk about them and they are important, but everybody does their part, whatever. Like, no one, it's better or worse and more, we're all in this together. Come on, stop it. Leave a comment. What else is going on in and around the world? I believe it was in Ohio. If I could skirt with you in Ohio, this actually kind of low-key fills my heart with joy, because in Ohio, 3 children aged 8, 11, and 12 learned how to hotwire and steal a car off of YouTube, and they did this, and it led to a high-speed chase, or just a chase involving cops and children and cars. And again, I'm not for this, but I'm not totally against it either. Hear me out. It's been a few decades. It's been a few decades since we've had children hotwiring cars and stealing them. Low key, no cap. Skibbity 6-7. Low key, no cap. Skibbity 6-7. All of it. Yeah, all of it. It's been some time, so it's nice because people used to do this, and 80s, 90s, people did it prior to even the 70s. I think was like 70s. I think when the French Connection come out in 70s, right? It's fucking, I don't know. Was there even a hot wiring scene in that movie? Somehow I just associate that movie right now in my head with hot wiring a car and stealing a car. Nonetheless, in the 70s, it seemed like it was prime time to hot wire cars and steal them, and I've not seen enough of that in movies, and I've not seen enough of that in real life, and it is kind of exciting. And to all the panicked people out there who are like, oh, the children on the iPhones and the iPads and the digital augmentation, and they're not going to learn it. They're learning stuff that at least they're learning stuff. How many adults know how to hotwire a car? Not many. I don't. Do you? Guess what? These children learn how to hotwire a car. So before we, charge them and slap them with criminal conduct or whatever, let's just, it's low key. First of all, they're not going to be watching this or anything, but low key, it's heartwarming. It's heartwarming. It is kind of adorable to have children steal cars. Again, I'm very glad that nobody got hurt and that the cops got a hold of them quickly. But it is kind of like a kid in a car. I remember myself being put in a car, and then at one point, the car was on. I was a baby. I do remember putting the car into drive, and then almost low-key kind of died. But that's nonetheless. The point is that but it was adorable. It was. I didn't even realize it. I was doing it. I didn't even realize I was doing it at the time. I put the handbrake down somehow, put the car in drive, and luckily family members gathered, and they all had a panic attack, I was told. But it doesn't matter. The point is that it was adorable. It wasn't because, a baby driving a car. Come on. That's beautiful. So my heart is warmed during this holiday season. It shows that there are things there's pros and cons to me, and this is a pro in my eye because, again, sure, maybe children can't use hot wiring, but adults can definitely benefit from knowing how to hot wire a car. Again, think of an instance where it's a blackout or some sort of emergency sitch, which brings me, I should probably take some time and spend some time looking at videos on how to hot wire cars. It's a nice skill to have, skills that people used to have. More, at least, I imagine more people knew how to pick locks for some reason. It was just, I think in the 70s, 80s, 90s, even maybe early 2000s, more people knew how to pick locks and maybe hotwire cars, and it's just a lost art form, in my opinion. So in this case, again, very glad that nobody got hurt. Also, we should be kind of proud of them. Come on, they saw videos and they actually did this. This is, there wasn't any schooling or teaching or practical, like they saw videos on how to hotwire a car. They went and did it. It's exciting times. It's hopeful for the future generation. It's hopeful. It's every young man's, it's part of every young man's or almost every young man's journey to at one point somehow in some variation steal a car. Everybody's done some, to some degree. If you didn't, you're not living. But low key, it's hopeful in my eyes. Shout out to this person. These people. And that's how I feel about the whole situation. Lastly, I'd like to just say this. It is the holiday season, but let us remember that it's not about individual. It's not about you or I. It's about, first of all, today is about Jesus Cristo. It's about Jesus. And I saw this, it caught my attention. I just like to say that it's about and I love the cops. We here at Gladyamadeit support the cops, support the people out there, support everyone really. There's not many people I don't support. So this is about a cop in New Jersey. I believe his name is, what's his name? Michael Poon is his name. New Jersey cop sees a dog in a New Jersey body of water. I don't know if it was a river or a lake. I think it was a lake. Frozen, half frozen. Dog was inside the lake. Next thing you know, cameras are being whipped out. It's being recorded that this New Jersey cop, Michael Poon, allegedly saves dog in frozen river. First of all, I like to say that we don't know why the dog was inside the frozen lake. There are many benefits to cold plunging, of course, as you know. Maybe this dog was somehow involved in the cold plunging community and was trying to get the benefits of a quick cold plunge dip in the natural lake that's available to him. So here you go, jumping in, rescuing and saving this, where you just shortened his lifespan, made him look like a cuck in front of other dogs, and drew all the attention to yourself and became a hero cop. Michael Poon. You could say he's a poon hound. You could say that he's attention grabbing, attention seeking, and it's all about him. I just want to say that, and all in all, everything's fine. To the bitches out there, I do want to say he's available. He's got a wet nose and a little pink rocket. And I guess Michael Poon's probably available. I don't know. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's already been scooped up. I don't know. But the dog might be available. Single. Not sure of his marital status or not. But I guess there's hero cop Michael Poon as well. I myself, not the one to want to get in front of the camera or get after the old limelight. Have I done any rescuing of myself or other people? I've definitely rescued myself in several circumstances. Have I rescued others? I don't want to put labels on. I don't want to put a box on myself. Put myself in a box. Have I rescued others? There was an instance where I was ordering coffee, and I had to make sure that there's a large number of people ahead of me, and before I saw them going into the coffee shop and they were trying to get into the coffee shop, but I picked up my pace because there was a whole bunch of them. There was 5, 6, 7 of them. I picked up my pace, so I get in first, a few seconds, and I held the door open and I placed my coffee order first. And in a sense, you could say that had they gone in and placed their order first, not only would I have had to wait a longer period of time for them to make their order and have myself go up and place my order. If I didn't pick up my pace to go into the coffee shop earlier, shout out Tim's, and these people got in, there's a high possibility that they might have exited earlier out of the coffee shop, shout out Tim's, and gotten mauled by just a gang of raccoons riddled with scurvy. They could have gotten hit by multiple cars, gone on to get inside their car and drive their car to the train track and park on the train track and get run over by train tracks. So low key, and this was just during the past couple of days. So have I saved any? I don't want to put labels on it or you know. But again, today's not about me or Michael Poon or even this, you know, health obsessed, beautiful canine. It's about Jesus. So Merry Christmas once again. And I'll see you guys and gals back here on Friday. Peace out. Get out of here.